Welcome, I'm Joe Erardi, Superintendent of Schools in Newtown, and I'm really pleased that you're joining us for our first of our monthly productions with information about Newtown schools. What we'll look to do on a monthly basis is to share a couple of things with you. I'd like to be able to bring you up to date on topics that are important for the parents in the community to have. I'd like to be able to also share with you a student profile, and I'm really pleased later on in the show that two seniors at Newtown High School will be joining me. And the second segment in the show is always around staffing and initiatives that are taking place within the district. And joining me in just a few moments will be Mr. Chris Moretti, who is the new principal at Hawley Elementary School, and Dr. Lori Rodriguez, who is the new principal at Newtown High School. But before Chris and Lori begin, just a couple of opening comments for the start of the new school year. I was really appreciative of the parent input in regards to transportation, safety, security, teaching and learning prior to the start of this year, which allowed us, I thought, to get off to just a terrific, terrific start. There's an awful lot that I could speak to, but I'd like to just mention one focus area, if I could, that in a very short period of time, we will embark on a long-term plan for teaching and learning. Ultimately, what do students need to know in the next 5 to 7 years? So we're going to call it Student Initiative 2025. So really what that means is, what is the vision and where are we going for the graduates that need to be just outstanding workers and outstanding citizens? If you're interested at all in being a part of the committee, that will be focused for the next 4 to 5 months on creating the long-term plan for the district, I'd love for you to get in touch with me. My email address and my contact information is on the Newtown Public School website, and please don't hesitate if that's an interest, whether you're a parent, a community member, a business member, or just somebody who is very interested in tomorrow's leaders. With that being said, let me, if I could, introduce Mr. Chris Moretti and Dr. Lori Rodriguez. As I mentioned in my opening remarks, I am really pleased to introduce to the community, although not necessarily new to the community, to my left, Mr. Chris Moretti, and to my right, Dr. Lori Rodriguez. Thank you to both.
Thank you.
Just some of the back history to both of our invited guests. They have a couple things in common. One is that with a highly selective process, a process that between the two different job descriptions included over 300 applicants, we are absolutely blessed and fortunate to have Chris and Lori as our successful candidates coming forward. As far as commonalities, they know each other, which I think is kind of nice, both coming from Region 15, and I think they also know the Newtown landscape quite well. And Chris, I want to start with you, if I could.
Sure.
If I have this right, I believe you came back to a setting where your staff at Hawley Elementary School had T-shirts.
Yes.
And tell me about those T-shirts. What did they say? What was the message, and what was your takeaway?
We were, I was barbecuing some hamburgers and hot dogs and Boca burgers for a welcome back to staff, end of summer kind of launch to a new school year. And all of a sudden I hear Rocky music playing out of one of the windows, and the theme from Rocky. And the staff just came marching out of a door, and they all had these green shirts on that said Hawley Elementary across the chest. And they're circling me, which was a little disconcerting at first because, you know, I'm the new one, and here they are surrounding me already. But as they completed the circle, they all turned around simultaneously, and on the back their shirt said, "Ready for Moretti."
I like that, by the way. I do. I like that. Chris, you've been in district now with students and staff for about a month.
Yes.
Tell me your takeaways.
Phenomenal people. Phenomenal people. All across the board, great staff, great parents, great students, all working towards just wanting Hawley to be a phenomenal environment for students to learn, and they've all worked collaboratively and together, and it's been a blessing. It really has been a very nice start.
I want to come right back to and give some thought to what you'd like to share with the community around your expectations with teaching and learning, and give some thought to something you want to share with the community that has nothing to do with your professional life.
Okay.
Dr. Rodriguez, I can share it firsthand because I experienced it firsthand, that when the ripple effect came through the high school that Lori Rodriguez was coming back, it was like the wave chair, I believe, going through your faculty and staff, which is a testament to your time prior to leaving Newtown High School. Talk about your first day here. Where have you been, and why did you choose to come back?
first day here, it felt like coming home. It was just so amazing, because I do know a lot of the staff, and of course there are a lot of new people, but just the other day I was walking around, just kind of scouting out the rooms I used to teach in, and also I was an assistant principal here, and so as much as they were excited to have me back, I was even more excited to come back. And I think, again, I think Mr. Moretti said it best, it's an outstanding staff, and that goes across the district. It's a great staff, great students. I mean, kids are so welcoming. Every morning, I'm out there with bus duty, and it's a hello, a good morning, and you just feel good. It's a special place.
You chose to take on a high school, one of the larger high schools in the state of Connecticut, on a good attendance day, approximately 1,700 youngsters. You chose to take on an assignment that has already a reputation for outstanding teaching and learning, a vanguard school, yet you have your own plan coming forward. Talk a little bit about it.
Yes. Well, when I was here, and I go back 9 years ago, we were a blue ribbon school, and so we went through that process at Newtown High School. So I left the school when it was outstanding. And coming back, it is an excellent school, but you always look to and say to yourself, or as a staff, we say to each other, how can we do better? How can we continue to improve? So we talk a lot about critical literacy, and that's so important across the content areas. And so that's one of the goals of our school, is not only getting students to really think deeply in all content areas and literacy, but also the culture of the school. We want kids to be engaged, especially at this level, at the high school level. We want them to feel invested in their learning, to be independent. We're preparing them for college and career and beyond, and that's so incredibly important. So I think my vision is that we do that with being gentle, getting kids invested and wanting to be here at school. You hear so much about dropout rates and trends in that area. We want students to want to be here. So
your first class that you will see through from grade 9 through graduation is class of 2018,
Yes.
I believe.
Yes.
What was your message to the incoming freshmen during freshman orientation? What did you say?
My message was, even though it's a big place and scary today, that will get better in about 3 days. But to really think about how, what the kind of person they want to be, the kind of learner they want to be, and seeing it through setting goals. We're doing that now in advisory, so that students really see beyond today and tomorrow that this is 4 years. It's an incredible 4 years, and to make those memories that are so important as not just learners, but people. So, one of the things I said is don't, get invested, don't be afraid to ask questions, seek people out, because we have such an outstanding staff, counselors, teachers who will really help them throughout the 4 years.
What keeps you awake at night about Newtown High School?
I think just you want it to be perfect. You really do. You want the school to be so inviting and welcoming. You want everyone to understand the message, from parents to students and staff. I have 150 staff. You have a large community and over 1,700 students, and you want to make sure that that vision that gets conveyed is something that you really wanted to say.
Absolutely. Look, I want to come back to you, but Chris, I want to talk a little bit about elementary school. 5-year-old entering the building. The old folks in your building are probably a ripe old age of 9 or 10.
Yes.
And the world of primary and elementary school is going through such dramatic change. How do you stabilize it? How do you find a balance in what you believe is most important in elementary schools, and what is most important to you?
From the adult perspective, I think the most important thing is for everybody to be a reflective practitioner. And I want every teacher, every staff member, myself included, driving home every day saying, how did I do, and how can I be even better tomorrow? And if that's our focus, we can't go wrong. I also made lanyards for everybody that says what's best for kids on them, because that's a question and a statement. We want Hawley to be what's best for kids, but the question also is what's best for kids. And if we're always asking ourselves that question, in any decision we make, we can't go wrong. And I think we do put the child first, and we want to treat the children as if they're our own. You have to balance the sensitivity of what children, you know, 4th grade, 4-year-olds coming to school for the first time. They're getting off this big yellow bus, and they're so tiny, and their eyes are just so wide open, and the possibilities are endless. So for me, the most important takeaways are connecting to those kids, getting to know those kids, getting those kids to feel comfortable, safe, and wanting to learn. And the 4 questions I tell staff to ask themselves all the time are, what is it we want children to learn? How are we going to know they learned it? And then what do we do if they haven't learned it? And what do we do if they know it already? And if we keep those 4 questions at the core, we're always doing what's right for our students.
What keeps you up at night?
My wife's snoring.
Okay, I appreciate that. But beyond your wife, let's talk a little about the professional
Okay,
side.
professional side.
I hope your wife doesn't watch the show.
Well, we live in a different town,
We
so I
may
think I'm
say
safe.
we're safe, but you may not be safe, but go ahead.
Wanting to make sure everything is right. That's the same as Lori. Just, you know, there's so much to juggle. There's so much to make sure you're being on top of everything, and you want it to be a wonderful experience.
Just a comment to the community. If you don't get the sense that somehow, some way, the hiring committee hit gold twice, I'd like you to rerun and rewatch the opening 10 minutes of this show. Chris and Laura, I want to end with a question for both of you. The message that you would like to share, not only with the community, but more specifically with the parents of students that may be at the high school or Hawley Elementary School, what's the message? What's the need for 2014 and 15 that's going to make your school even a better place? Whoever wants to go, go.
Well, I can just say and emphasize what I told the parents in our last open house. We had 2 in the last 2 weeks.
Which is interesting in itself. But
yes, exactly. And one of the things I said is, you know, I know teenagers, they push back, they want to be independent, but now more than ever, kids need us, no matter how old they are and how independent they are. They want you to ask about their homework. They want you to stay invested. And we talk so much about partnerships between home and school. And as I said to them, that's not only urgent now, but it's necessary. And at the high school level, it's the same for us.
It's a great message. Chris?
I'd like to try to break the mold of what people think they can do to help in an elementary school, because I think some people are locked into the only way I can help is if I do this, the only way I can be involved is if I do that. So I want to provide more opportunities for people to find ways to get involved. I want to provide more opportunities for parents to be in the school, seeing the work that we do, experiencing the work that the students are doing. So creating more opportunities to involve parents on many different levels, whether it be evening events, workshops, presentations, student presentations, so things of that nature. And the other thing is, I think is very important, especially as a parent, is we always want to protect our child, and sometimes I think we try to anticipate problems and then protect them before letting them experiencing it a little bit. And I shared at open house that the academic struggle is so important, and that's where students learn to be independent, work with others, collaborate, use the resources around them. And I think sometimes as adults we jump in a little too early. So I think we're all there to help, but I think helping them learn to be more independent is the best gift you can give your child.
You know, I'm not going to wish you best of luck, because there's no reason to. You're a veteran, you're high-level administrative, but I would like to publicly thank you both for choosing Newtown Public Schools.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. In every show that I'm really pleased to bring, I think it's equally, if not more important, to share student updates and student profiles. And it's not atypical for the start of the school year for seniors at any high school, in this case Newtown High School, to be really excited about being a senior. To my right is Anita Luxkiranayaga, and to my left is Brooke Headcraft. And ladies, thank you both. I'm kind of impressed with myself, so I said your last names correctly, so we'll continue from there. Anita, I just want to share, if I could, just a little bit of information for the community about who you are. Last I knew, you were a highly competitive scholar in the class of 2015, and through your peers, the president of the National Honor Society. And Brooke, you're one of those students, is my guess, is folks look at you and can't figure out how you squeeze every second out of every minute out of every hour out of every day, because you're very involved in reading.
Yes.
You're an athlete at Newtown High, you're involved in some service learning, and I'm guessing you don't worry about having nothing to do too often.
Very busy.
Okay. Anita, I want to start with you if I could. I'd like you to share, if you could, with the mindset being that any acronym is unknown. So if we're talking about AP, you're telling folks what an AP class is. Give the community a sense of what your class schedule looks like this year.
Well, I'm taking 4 APs this year.
Okay, which are?
AP Physics C,
Yeah.
Statistics, Literature, and Spanish.
Okay, so just so the community knows what an AP class is, define advanced placement for the community, if you would.
It's basically a college level course, but taken in high school. So it has the rigor of a college class, the work, and you get a feel of what college will be like even further than regular high school classes.
Okay, so for our listening audience, I think it's important for them to know that that's not the norm.
Right.
Most high school seniors across this country do not take 3 or 4 or 5 advanced placement courses.
Right.
So you've really distinguished yourself with the body and the level of work.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about preparation for those 4 classes.
Well, most classes give summer work that is usually classes go over them at the beginning of just to give like a brief preview of what it'll be like for the rest of the class. So last year, for example, I took AP US History, and we had to read 5 very large chapters in the textbook and take notes. And that was just kind of a preview of how much we needed to know and like the work ethic that we had to put into to be able to be successsul in the class. Like
And that was the reading for the summer.
Right,
In
exactly.
preparation for it.
Right.
And they called that summer break.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Right, so we got kind of like a preview of what exactly we would be getting ourselves into. And some people would drop the class, but most want to stick with it because they know they're going to have to go through something like that in college. So it's a good experience to have.
So although, Anita, it's very early in the school year, I'm sensing you have a routine or somewhat of a routine. On an average weekday evening, in order to be prepared for the next day, how many hours of study time?
Well, right now I'm doing cross country because it's a fall time. So I get home at around 5:30, and basically I'm doing homework until midnight not even just for like the next day, but like also days in advance. So quite a few hours.
That's amazing. And thank you for being that dedicated as a student. Brooke, I want to shift over to you, and I'd like if you could share, you're involved with a real service learning organization. You're the captain of the field hockey team.
Yes.
You're taking competitive classes. What's a typical Brooke Hadgraft day? Tell me a typical day.
For me, it's going to school and having the different levels of classes, your
Yeah.
core classes. But for me, part of it is doing something you also enjoy. So I, for one, am one of the few seniors who has 7 classes and only 1 free period. So for me, I'm going days where I don't get to go in late or leave early, but I love that. So I'm
Okay.
taking tools for living, and I get to work with the special needs students, and that just rewards you so much. So for me, it's staying involved as I can and becoming the best student I can be and best student leader.
Tell me about after school.
After school, I go to a few, like, if any guy has cross country, I have field hockey till about 5:30. I get home, and it's either we have practice or we have a game that day. And plus, I stay there extra or go a little early to help out the girls. So it's a lot of work, but it's all worth it.
Anita, I want to talk a little bit about the National Honor Society, and then Brooke, I want to talk to you a little about the Hawks Honor program. Let's talk about National Honor Society.
Well,
Goals and objectives for this year. What do you hope takes place?
well, personally, I think that like everyone has a passion in service other people in the community or just roll by. So I think that everyone should come up with like a personal goal. All the members should come up with a personal goal of a organization or some kind of group that they want to help out. Because like whether it's like animal rights or the environment, everyone like feels something passionate towards something they want to help make better. So I really want to focus on making the students like become very motivated to actually make something happen and take action. So when it's something that they're passionate about,
Sure.
they're gonna want to do that more. So I feel like if I show the option instead of having like we have committees of certain groups, and so I want to make sure that they don't have to focus on just those committees. They can do something and make an effort through the National Honor Society and help a group or organization that they're very passionate about.
So in a school of approximately 1,700 students, how many students are in the Honor Society?
As of right now, I'm not exactly sure. I think less than 100, but
Okay.
there's new members coming in from the junior class as well as some new seniors as well.
Your advisors who?
Mr. Brandt.
So if Mr. Brandt was here and I said to Mr. Brandt, how did Anita end up being the president of the Honor Society? What would he say to me?
Well, I think I have a very good work ethic and
Okay.
I'm very responsible. And I know how to get people together, like I'm very friendly, I think. So I'm also very passionate about like if I put my mind to something, I know I'll get it done and I'm, yeah.
And you're up for the challenge.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
sure are. But tell me about the Honor Association.
So with Hawks Honors Association, we work within the high school with students from sophomores, juniors, and seniors who have to have a good academic grades and leadership and club involvement, and we come together and we do community service for Newtown High School. So at open house, you may have seen some leaders around the school helping people get to classes, and we go to the middle school and talk to 8th grade classrooms about what the high school's like, answer any questions they might have, and it gives the incoming freshmen like, okay, the high school isn't that scary, like we're all in this together, everybody wants to work hard and the staff wants you to work hard. So we do a lot of community service within the school. So.
Earlier in the production, in this show, I asked Dr. Rodriguez, your new high school principal, her message to high school parents. I'd be curious about your message and your message to 9th grade students. I don't know who wants to go first.
I guess I'll go.
Go ahead.
Just to support the students as much as possible. I think as a freshman, you're opening up to a whole new way of life. You have classes, you have a bigger school, a lot more responsibility. But I think it's just nice to be a freshman and to feel more independence, because as you're growing up, you have more responsibility on your part with your grades and preparing in your new adventure towards college. So I think it's really important, at least in this stage, that the parents are there to support and show that they want their child to do well in school.
Have you anything to add?
Yeah, the thing I love about high school is the opportunity that they have here. Like, you can do internships, you can take classes in business, or anything that you're interested in. I think it's amazing here, and I think really taking advantage of those opportunities that we have here is a really great way to start your high school experience. And just like interacting with people of all ages to learn what they learned here, not in the academic sense, but through experience, and just trying to like grasp what you have and take advantage of it.
So for our viewing community, I think you're going to be wondering the same thing that I'm going to ask them, because you're wondering that. You're wondering in a year from now what these two young ladies might be doing and what they're thinking. So,
Well,
fast forward.
I'm planning on majoring in neuroscience in college.
Okay,
And eventually becoming a neurologist.
good for you. And you're in the process of, I'm assuming at this point, perhaps early acceptance or early admission to a school that will get you there.
Right.
Okay. Brooke?
For me, since I was little, I've always wanted to be a teacher, so I'm looking into majoring in secondary education math, and staying at a college that's less than an hour away.
As the new superintendent, I could only dream that all 1,700 of your fellow students represent your thinking and your thinking. We don't know each other at all, but I'm smart enough to know that somehow, some way, two of the absolute best at Newtown High School ended up on our September production. Anita and Brooke, thank you so much. I promise to come watch you run cross country, and I promise to come watch you play field hockey, and I'm
Thanks.
absolutely certain I'm gonna shake your hand at graduation. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for being on the
much.
show.